Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And my goodness, CLG Academy. Sound the bells, ladies and gentlemen. Tell all your friends they won a game. They're no longer 0-4. They're now 1-4. And for Immortals Academy, obviously they don't want to go down without a fight. But CLG Academy, with this momentum, I mean, I could see them going the distance for this 2-0, Grums.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it depends on the adaptations that IMT makes and how quickly they can recognize what hurt them that last game. Because as we get to put the pieces together and what kinds of compositions, what kinds of approaches to the game have been working for teams around the world and even in our league and academy, we seem to be getting some pulling ahead of the others. Take into consideration the 100 Thieves win, so much of Deathball, team fighting, teams like TSM and the LCS prioritizing team fighting, going up 3-0. And here with CLG, they just hard picked a 5v5, just massive wombo engages, and it really worked out. There was not a lot that IMT could do. Once they fell behind into the laning phase, then the melee champions that needed to get in range were also going to be exposed to a lot of AoE and crowd control that would stop all their damage. So CLG finding a formula that worked for them. Now it's not a hard one to pull off, right? Everyone's been playing teamfight for a while, but can IMT realize that and adapt in just a few minutes from loss to game 2? That's something we're about to find out.
Yeah, cue the B-roll production. As one of the things that I want to point out is I actually got a chance to sit down as well with Miko, who is the analyst for CLG Academy. And even though the early game was looking a little rough for CLG Academy members, one of the things that he mentioned was that there's a switch that this week, and in scrims they all sat down as a team, identified a lot of the weaknesses and the issues in the comms that were kind of plaguing them in the first 4 games that they played go over in week 1. And even though as it's still going over the ways in Immortals Academy, as you see in the first couple of fights here later on, as you'll be able to see soon, Crumbs, they started turning things around with this composition.
Yeah, this was one of those moments because they thought they caught RJS, but then the counter engage from CLG was too strong. Fiddlesticks comes in and immediately catches Pretty. He just got CC locked the whole time. He was about to dash and potentially finish off RJS. Didn't stand a chance. And then later on into the game, despite the fights being so convoluted, all of these members on the side of CLG have massively powerful team fighting ultimates. Even the Tristana can do so much in, at the very least, deterring the team fight from IMT and following up on his own team. So CLG just kept throwing ultimate at IMT, begging them to try to take the fight, but they knew they had the win every single time. Here's a 3v4 engage that just fends off Keith, and he's not able to participate anymore. CLG is just so devastating with how much CC they've got here. They really showed how to play with vision around Fiddlesticks as well, and it's showing us that the Rumble pick that was thought to be one of the top tier picks is a little bit more susceptible to being countered than we had initially thought. Yes, he got nerfed, but teams have gotten better at finding picks that work even better against him, and Fiddlesticks seems to be one of those.
I mean, I think that's the important takeaway from this game, and we even saw it a little bit in the first series when 100 Thieves Academy, as soon as they locked in Zenzao Karma, TSM Academy had no interest in taking the Rumble at all. So there are clear ways of being able to play around that dreaded equalizer, as well as you got to make sure that those equalizers are landing if you are going to pilot that champion in the first place. And something that we have noticed that it can be clear depending on which jungler. There are some junglers that have been able to better adapt to the Rumble pick than others, because he's not an easy champion just to pick up right from the get-go.
Not at all. There is actually the funniest part about him, I think, that you can see in these new players that are learning him, is that you can actually silence yourself. It's not like, oh, you miss your abilities. Yeah, that's one thing. You can actually put yourself in a position where you're dealing no damage, just barely auto when attacking, and not offering much for your team. So the downside of playing Rumble poorly is actually more damaging than most other champions. So it's more noticeable when these junglers are struggling with the pick. I don't think that Anda had a particularly strong showing, but he didn't have those glaring issues with the Rumble. It's just that the pick, when it comes to dealing with the 5v5 team fight against Fiddlesticks, is not as powerful. Fiddles has both the damage that Rumble Equalizer has and a ton more crowd control, so he's not as reliant on the setup.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot easier to pull off a Fiddlesticks ultimate than a Rumble ultimate when you channel the ultimate as long as you're not interrupted. Boo! You got the multi-man fear on everyone, right, for Immortals Academy, and it just becomes a huge nuisance for them to deal with, and comboing and layering with all the crowd control, like you mentioned before, the Magnastorm, the Gnar ultimate, even the Facebreaker to some extent, setting up Katsuri for success, you know. CLG Academy and their main backliners not getting targeted at all whatsoever because there's too much to deal with at the start of those fights. But as we are getting ready into the pick and ban phase for this second game, Immortals Academy should be on the red side, as we'll be able to see a change in priorities, how CLG Academy will adapt now that they're on the blue side.
They could be deadly on the red side. Maybe the counter pick game gets really spicy here, as if they want to double down on not team fighting, red side offers you better tools to get ahead in the laning phase, because you have that counter that should theoretically be stronger in lane, getting you those early leads and then snowballing faster. So I think that this could be a side that really benefits them if they want to index into Viper and Anda on the top side. It worked around the river where they caught Keel a few times, but they had to include Pretty, so they didn't have that many options. And you know, when you think about the CLG composition that was ran into IMT, it wasn't just having multiple damage threats, which is often something we look at compositions, is how many carries do you have? Well, how many forms of engage do you have? Because those are also multiple threats that you have to respect. Oftentimes you just see a single form of engage, and if somebody can just continue to mark that person, be aware of their position, the engage never happens. But if you have every single member can start the fight, that becomes so difficult because whoever is marking whom can be engaged upon as well.
CLG Academy, they showed a brilliant strategy that they were able to execute on better than Immortal strategy in game one. And you already mentioned before, you know, the counter pick value does go up, and for a solo laner like Viper and like Pretty, who, when they have their way, they can absolutely pop off. We're gonna have to see what kind of champions can start coming up in the wheelhouse. Another thing that I'm gonna be curious about is, now that the Rumble priority might be going down going into this second game of the match, you know, we saw Anda divert a little bit more into what we know as a comfort pick was the Elise in week 2, being able to use that to great success, putting a lot of pressure in the early game, comboing that with Viper to snowball him.
Yeah, that was the patented PTA Elise, the press the attack. Does a lot of damage, does some good true damage. But you only run that if you have a lot of physical damage and good setup. The classic combo before Renekton and Nidalee became the go-to was Renekton and Elise. So without Renekton, you already have one less ideal option to pair with the strong physical damage solo laner. So I think that IMT will look to probably play more of team fighting like CLG. It's going against the grain to go in the direction of the Elise or these early game champions, and it shows a lot of confidence in your ability to play the early game. But I think that after having seen a week of global play, you might be indexing away from that and trying to emulate what the world champions have done.
It only makes sense, you know, RNG, and when we look at LCK last night as well, we saw quite a bit of Akali play. If you were able to catch Lava, picking up the first pentakill of the LCK in the first match as well, which is a hell of a way to start off the season over in Korea. But for Academy, as Immortals and CLG going through the ban phase, you know, no Renekton off the table, so a dream of an Elise Renekton setup already seems to be off the table here.
Yeah, and no Nocturne either, so fearing that this could also be a flex in the red side, being very annoying to deal with for multiple laners, especially melee champions that just don't want to be dealing with his perpetual range of fear and ability to just shove you out and roam around. But here, CLG hasn't been targeted. Nothing that they played last game has been taken up. And so instead, they will go with the tried and true, has been tested for a whole year, pretty much. The Udyr in the jungle for Keel. And there are some interesting options against Udyr. I think that there's still the Rumble available. You know, it's not the strongest into Udyr, but it does offer you the ability to team fight really well, which is something that can catch you off guard if you don't have the team fighting prowess that comes from Udyr. He's just a tanky boy, right? He's not actually a fiddlesticks that multiple engages can really bolster. He wants to be helped by his teams, but more importantly than his team fighting is his early game skirmishing, and that's going to be the Rumble for IMT.
Yeah, and you hit it right on the head. You know, this Udyr being locked in gives you a little bit more early agency than you would have normally had they gone for the fiddlesticks, right? You don't have to wait until level 6 to be useful as a champion. You can... I don't imagine you would want to start bear stance level 1.
No,
but, you know, if
no.
Don't worry, we're not getting too crazy on the academy desk here. But, you know, early as level 2 if you wanted to go for something super cheesy, or you can just wait until level 4 if you're going to go for the standard clear. Optimizing for double Phoenix after the Tiger stance for level 1, optimizing for the fastest clear speed possible on this Udyr, and then this Tristana being locked in. We saw it before for Katsuri and CLG Academy. It is a potential flex for either RJS or the bot lane. This, I'm going to hold my breath on this current hover right now, Crumbs, because it is way too early to lock in a champion like that. Gnar already worked out for TM. They're going to run it back.
CLG have to think about what IMT is already doing with their composition, because early priority on the Ezreal against Udyr tells me they want to kite away. Now, Karma is still available, but you don't see what the supports are going to be, so there's no need to commit in that direction just yet. But the Ezreal is a pick that has hard carried so many games, and speaking of carries, this is for Viper. It can be flexed all the way to the end, but Gnar will often ban Irelia before it is even locked in, and here it was daring Viper to play it. You left it up, suspected that maybe he wouldn't do it. He just did it. But CLG can deal with this. Picks like Braum can be really annoying to deal with the Irelia because she's going to get auto-attacked and get stunned every time. But the conundrum becomes then, if you index to try to protect yourself from the Irelia, these peel champions, you now don't have an option against the Ezreal. So you got to find something that can both peel and engage against a slippery pick. It's got to be the Nautilus, Rafa. Nautilus is just a darn good pick here for both of these teams.
Immortals Academy do have the option to block in that support before CLG Academy have a chance to respond when it is their turn in the draft. Already, Immortals Academy are trying to take away some blind pick options as well in the mid lane, away from RGS. The Victor being taken away once again. And with this set from CLG Academy, the band away from Immortals Academy, it is making that Nautilus support look even juicier.
Yeah, this pick is just so deadly right now in the meta. Leona is okay against him in the lane, but then it's just so much easier for Nautilus to actually execute. He's even more mobile too, harder to catch. You don't actually put yourself in such harm's way with the hook, banning out even more of the engaged supports in the bot lane. Seems like, though, both teams will actually have plenty of options to select from their bot lane pool. The Victor being banned away just means that Nautilus or Leona will remain up. So I think that both these teams will be happy with their composition at the end of the day. And if one prioritizes these tanky supports, then IMT could always pivot to the Karma, right? You could always pivot to that lane. It's just that you don't actually know where CLG is going for just yet. So this is the dangerous point in these compositions, that both teams could hard pivot in one direction to try to outdo the other.
Yeah, Immortals Academy, they have to make a decision, and I think you pretty much said it. Do you lock in this Nautilus, which is a tried and true combo with the Rumble, or do you potentially pick the Karma to make sure that CLG Academy don't get it? And it's not going to be either of them. The value has kind of gone up in potentially this Leona. They want the long-range engage power. It is not necessarily point and click like a Nautilus, but it is just a little bit more of a screen away.
It's a stronger 2v2 earlier with the Ezreal as well. Leona will offer you more damage. There's not much that the Nautilus and the Ezreal can do together because so much of Ezreal revolves around actually getting damage through or without minions in the way. But if Nautilus gets a hook through the wave, you're just not going to shift in to put yourself in position. So with the Leona locked in, that tells CLG, great, we can just play a kite composition. We don't need to be going too hard into looking for the fight. We just know that IMT will want to run into us, so we can pick a tried and true, just a front to back composition, protect us with the Braum, have a setup with the Orianna and the Gnar, and Udyr can just be the bodyguard that stuns whoever gets in melee range and tries to go into the backline. It's a pretty easy job for Udyr in bear stance to deal with the melee champions, but that's if we get to an even laning team fighting phase, because the Irelia against Gnar is a counter in the lane. So if Viper can pull something off, then this Irelia can get to the point where it doesn't matter how much you stun her, she's going to mow your team down.
For Immortals Academy, I imagine that a lot of investment has to go into this Irelia against the Gnar matchup, because you want to be able to make sure that you are winning the side lanes as the game progresses out. If the Irelia gets out of hand, CLG Academy are going to have to deal with a split push composition, and with this Viego lock-in, Crumbs, I think Immortals Academy, yes, you have this Rumble for equalizers and, you know, potentially great for team fights or disengaging or looking for engages, but I'm really looking at the side lanes right now between this Viego and Irelia.
I am really curious to see what's going to happen with this Viego. Viego into Orianna. He doesn't have the strongest of laning phase, and neither does Ori. She usually tends to split with a lot of champions nowadays and is going to be more vulnerable with the face rush nurse. But to split gold with the Orianna, she should be actually fine in the sidelines to, at the very least, if she falls behind, to hold onto Viego. So I think CLG is a pretty solid mid and bot side of the map. The worry would be what TN and Viper ends up playing out like. So, I mean, so much of IMT's composition depends on execution. They have really put themselves in a position to rely on their hands. Irelia, Viego, Ezreal, skill shots upon skill shots necessary to actually succeed. The CLG composition not nearly as reliant on that, and they will have longer range. Yes, Ezreal can hard carry, but he doesn't have that buff of a Cartman to help him out. There are plenty of tanks and shields to mitigate his poke, to speed up towards him. So I think that IMT, despite having the Ezreal, really counting on their solo lanes to pull this one through.
Yeah, you're almost looking at this Ezreal Romo combo instead of for their team fighting prowess. It's more like, hey guys, we need you to park at mid lane, wave clear safely, and allow us as the solo laners to do work and start, you know, just doing the Trick 2G Cirquez impression. You just open the gates, and even though the Udyr is on the other side of the coin, you're trying to do as much structure damage as you can in the mid game. At Viper sees 3 people, hits them with a flawless duet.
Yeah, the Irelia, always an exciting champion to watch. It's frankly one of my favorites because oftentimes the players that main something are so salty when it gets changed. It's like, oh no, my baby, my pride and joy. But then it gets changed into something you like, into something that feels like it actually has a similar play style or is even cooler than before while maintaining its identity. And so I think that's what happened with the Irelia here. So I think that Viper can actually show us something really exciting, since this player has been around for a long time playing these kinds of picks. When I think of Viper and what kind of players he really shines at, it's these bruiser top laners. He was the Irelia main, the Riven main for a long time, and Riven mains often play Fiora, Irelia, Jax, these kinds of picks when those champions are not allowed. So this fits his wheelhouse exactly.
I mean, we even saw his prowess on the Lee Sin. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough in Game 1, but last week against Golden Guardians Academy, he was able to pull it off to such success. And I mean, you said it. Riven main, by heart starting out, and then being able to, if you're able to master Riven, which takes a lot of mechanical skill to just master over time, then you're able to, over time as well, pick up champions, as you mentioned before. So, but Immortals Academy, you know, looking onto this bottom side of the map, Keith and Joey are able to win the level 2 push war. Kind of force Ketsuri and Hooks away from being able to contest for these CS waves. It will give them a little bit of priority and shove, as taking a scan the rest of the map state as well. We might see Anda and Keel headed for a collision course on this top crab.
Yeah, I'd love to see that, especially because Anda's best interest is to help out Viper, and the wave is just now crashing on Viper's turret. But we're gonna have a little bit of a scuffle in the bot lane first.
Explosive charge being traded from Joey as Keith is able to follow up. Just a little bit of harass damage on both supports here, and I actually lied, Crumbs. We're not getting a collision course on the top side of the map. Anda has pivoted immediately after the red buff and has gone straight for the bottom crab.
It's smart because he moves away. He doesn't even do the Krugs after seeing how hard Tien pushed his wave. He knows that the Gnar would be able to collapse. If he went for the top side, he would have to concede that objective quickly. So instead, he makes a beeline for the bot side scuttle, grabs that objective. And yeah, it will cost the Krug, as Keel will take those, but it's better than losing Krugs and the crab as well. So he'll now get a reset, get his Dark Seal, and then continue on his merry way to Path. He's going topside because he doesn't know that the Krugs have been taken, but also because the wave from Viper is pushing away. So continuing to Path around his top laner and helping out one of the win conditions for IMT.
And making sure that this Aurelia pick for Viper gets off to a nice footing. If you're able to accelerate it, then the Gnar is going to have an insanely bad time the later the game plays out. But if CLG Academy, if they're able to deter and slow down this Aurelia, then she's not going to provide any other utility in team fights if she's behind. So IMT really, really invested in making sure that this Aurelia pick works out.
And you love to see that kind of investment because it shows confidence and trust in the player to be able to actually execute on something. And here is IMT looking for a 3-man dive onto RJS. Watch for Joey flash stunning.
Gonna get into range here as Joey is... It's actually not him taking the turret dagger. It's gonna be Anda, beautifully dived and juggled here for first blood onto Pretty.
I was so curious to see what Joey and Keith would do with all that shove in the bot lane, and they pull an advantage with it beautifully. Ooh, Tien really scared of Viper there, who biscuits and dashes in.
Oh, I think Viper has it, but is he gonna get away? Oh my gosh, hugging the wall to make sure he gets outside of turret range as well. Gets the dive on the Tien, even both flashes being burned.
Domination from IMT this game. Now this is the IMT we thought we were gonna be getting in game 1. Viper with the solo kill because he gets that level lead and a big minion wave with the help from Anda, and then Joey transitioning the early push into the mid lane. It's a single advantage being transferred over. It's a common philosophy that you see in the best teams instilled into the players in the game. It's you have an advantage. How can you spread it elsewhere? How can you take this advantage to help somebody else out? And here is Joey moving in. RJS already on the right side of the turret. He's in no place to get out. Flash to the left, that's the rumble. Flash to the right, you can't make it over the wall. And now the top side, Tien is already exhausted. Viper's full HP, and the big outplay he does is actually with the biscuit. So watch how it ends up playing. Right, he gets very low here, no mana. Bam, biscuit. And then suddenly is ready to continue to dash.
Oh my god, Viper with the flawless web. It might be enough, but the exhaust comes out. Bear Slap is going to lock him into place. Just too much damage from the back end on CLG Academy, able to punish Viper for the overextension.
Yeah, he's just getting mowed down. There are 3 members. You don't get to do that to our top laner without an answer. Knowing that he has no flash, that is the danger of this pick, though, into the composition of CLG, because that's how easy it is to lock her down. Normally one of the most mobile picks in the game, even if she has so many minion waves. with Braum and Udyr, it's just so easy to lock her down. So it is imperative that she gets really far ahead and can at least survive a single instance of these stuns, or else it doesn't matter how powerful she is in the 5v5. If she is not strong enough to survive a single rotation of stuns, she'll be paper.
Is a squishy pick. It is quite the investment. Blade of the Ruin King will be the first rush for Viper as well, so on a Mythic. Now we know how powerful the Blade of the Ruin King spike can be on a champion like Aurelia when she is ahead, but if you slow her down, and as TN is ramping up, picking up some defensive stats with the Kindle Gem and the steel-plated caps, it's going to be harder and harder, and then you might be able to just survive and out base stat check her, just thanks to all the resistances. But Anda, with level 6, has the equalizer, knowing TN doesn't have flash, is in mini-Gnar form, will be able to hit Mega anytime soon, so we cannot threaten a counter engage if they go for this dive.
Oh boy.
Well, Anda, as equalizer we already talked about, he's trying to clear the wave and buy as much time as he can. TN still in mini-power form,
wow.
but wow, they don't even need equalizer.
The flawless duet there from Viper just shows he is inside TN's mind. He is controlling what he's doing. He expects the jump over and then predicts the flawless duet, stuns him in it, doesn't need to use the ultimate because of it. Really smart timing out of Viper to recognize that one, and it's going to yield a lot of value for IMT. It's not just the kill, it's going to be the Herald, and maybe he can transition into a blue steal as well, as Pretty's already fighting up here, but instead we'll let Keel get away with it, and we'll just help Anda finish out the Rip Herald. They know the value they can get from this, especially in continuing to accelerate the top side of the map.
Cool. Joey going for the counter engage. True Shot Barrage gets a bunch of burst damage on the hooks. It might be enough. Heal came out, Ignite is ticking down. Keith gonna hold on to his summoner spells as he doesn't want to. He would probably have to trade flash for flash on the hooks. He's just going to keep the summoner advantage that he has, as it does force CLG Academy's bottom lane out, or at least just the support.
I do believe flash auto from Keith would have ended up killing hooks, so he doesn't actually go for it. Maybe a mistiming on the exhaust from the Braum, because that would have been foolish had he actually done that, and the flash and the exhaust would have been up for him to be exhausted. So instead he plays it safe, and maybe that's one of those instances where really superb timing of summoners could have paid off, but here the punishment on this Gnar just does not stop.
Oh. Okay, well, Viper throwing out the ultimate. We've seen this story before, Crumbs. It's just the Goon Squad and Viper doing it again. And TN, no flash, no Mega Gnar form, can't escape out of that one.
You know, when you get somebody new to play into the top lane, the frustrations they often cite is how brutal it can be when you fall behind. When the enemy jungler picks on you, it is so difficult to come back because help really isn't coming. Because if it does, they'll also get taken out. It is just such a punishing lane, and IMT's doing a really good job in doing that. The wave was pushing away from TN. He either calls Keel and they lose the 2v2, or he takes the risk to try to shove out the minion wave and get something in return. So he took the gamble. He said, I need to crash this wave, else I'm going to be zoned. He went for it, but it turned tails. Anda was right there. Viper was waiting in the brush. Now maybe he'll try to freeze this wave as Aurelia is on the way to the mid lane. We're going to see a change of lanes for IMT, and with Viper's Blade of the Ruin King completed, this could be the beginning of an onslaught unleashed from the top lane into the rest of Summoner's Rift.
Yeah, Armando, that's a Bork. Finished at 11 minutes into the game, along with steel-plated caps. So he's got the mobility, he's got the DPS to be able to just run down any squishy target from CLG Academy. And with this second dragon coming right up, Immortals Academy are already in prime position. CLG Academy don't even want to mess with it.
Seems like it is a freeze on the top side, so it is going to force Viper to actually look for something else. But if the end is exhausted, he can just get dove again. Yeah, the tabbies aren't going to do much for you, so see what Viper ends up doing. That's actually the most interesting thing here of what this gold lead is going to transfer it to. As the bot lane is just going to play it safe. Tristana easily clears out this minion wave, and the... Oh, wait a minute. Okay, no. They're fine. They can disengage. Tristan and Braum can get out of anything.
And that was rude, though, from Hooks. Not letting a homie Joey get in the recall, as he was sitting on top of the ward. You know, it's ideal for CLG Academy to keep them longer, but still, could have been nice about it, as Immortals Academy continuing their oppression in this top side of the jungle, being able to take away camps. Keel knows that the top side of the jungle does not belong to him anymore.
Yeah, he has, you know, about as large of 2 Mega Gnars worth of turret space that he is safe in, and that's only when he is Mega Gnar, because if Viper and Anda catch him out there, they can just pop him again and again. So he is really respectful now of what IMT can do, and by not pushing up, though, they are preventing IMT from snowballing this, and you gotta roam. Okay, Orianna will not follow here. They're not interested in actually catching out Viper, although Braum is in position. Viper is extended, and there is no TP on Viper, on Pretty. Oh, he's got flash, though.
Yeah, he does have flash. He would have to get to the wall first, though. Exhaust, they're just slowing him into his tracks, and Viper's trying to buy as much time as he can. I don't know if he's going to be able to win the 1v3, though. Keel burns him down with the Phoenix stance. Just like that, CLG Academy able to punish.
I will say, if it wasn't for the stopwatch, he kills Hooks. He kills Hooks. He 1v3 trades 1 kill.
It was close.
So shows you how strong he is. Katsuri. Oh, Katsuri!
Oh, Katsuri flash from Joey, and the true shot barrage from downtown. Bam, baby! American sniper Keith Letukin coming in clutch.
Oh, IMT bounces back. They see the play in the top side of the map. They have the cross map ready. Tristana needed to back off, but a beautiful pick onto her, and the fight's not over. Just gonna get CLG routed away. They are gonna get this first turret for sure, and they will be there to protect Keith and make sure it happens.
I was about to say, I've seen this story before. Crumbs, Keel walking up to the same death rush that Katsuri did just a moment ago, but thankfully, this dude here is quite tankier. Already has his tank mythic completed in that Frostfire Gauntlet. But for Immortals Academy, the gold lead is on their side as the Shockwave comes out. Keel's there to follow up. Pretty still has flash. He's going to try to outplay this one, but he doesn't have the damage and he doesn't have the resistances to survive.
Got the stun, so Pretty did not have an opportunity to actually flash out of that one after using the ultimate. So really good bounce back from CLG. They know they will win a 5v5. They have a 5v5 composition. They just need to stop the bleeding. They're doing a fine job. They're finding the picks on the solo lanes thus far. They need to keep it up if they actually want to win this game. Their farm is fine. The Orianna is doing all right. Tristana, not so much, but Mega Gnar can always offer value in the fight as IMT is looking for an answer play. It's onto RJS.
And they combo it with the equalizer. RJ is burning down and just flashing forward. He's got the flamethrower and he's looking to just burn them all down. Immortals Academy for CLG out of their jungle. RJS will have to pay the price as, you know, we said it before just a few minutes ago. This top side of the jungle doesn't belong to CLG.
I am enjoying so much how IMT is actually answering back after CLG makes a play every single time. They know that CLG has reset, that they're not in position to defend, and so they continue to look for an opportunity to actually punish exactly after CLG makes a play on their own. And they got the flash out of RJS. It wasn't blown on the kill onto Pretty, and it continues to get Anda further and further ahead. A combination of the Rumble with the Equalizer. Now that is the kind of ability that can win you the team fight. The Aurelia can be dealt with, but an Equalizer with stuns can be something that CLG's team fighting composition might have a harder time dealing with, since it's the same kind of fight that they want. Oh, RJ, yes! You're in so much trouble.
No flashies. Pops the Shockwave. Keel is here to provide assistance, but with that teleport coming in, I believe it's from Viper. Keel says, "I'm sorry, little one. I must let you go." And Pretty picks it up.
Just caught out of position. Nobody else is there. A good TP ward on the side of IMT to punish the Orianna right away, but they're looking for a fight. These are the fastest and tankiest boys on CLG. They're not afraid.
Thankfully, they do have a lot of movement speed, as you pointed out, Crumbs, to be able to get out of the Equalizer, but Equalizer tends to come off cooldown pretty fast thanks to the ability haste as they're looking for a re-engage, but this is a 4-on-3, 5-on-3. I don't know if CLG Academy actually wanted to take this fight, and Keith be able to follow up with the Mystic shots. The Rift Herald will crash and unlock the map even further for Immortals Academy.
They were eating with their eyes. They saw the play, but they just did not have the stomach to go more. Without the Orianna to follow up from a distance with a shockwave on it, it put heal and hooks way too close to the danger. Katsuri doesn't even have a mythic item completed. They were just never gonna catch Anda, who also has a stopwatch, so he would have been able to buy even more time from his team if he were to actually have been caught. CLG tried to answer the death of RJS in the bot side, but didn't have the damage, nor the Orianna himself, to actually follow through with it. So an attempt that IMT stifles quite easily.
Immortals Academy. First they had complete control of the top side of the jungle. Now they're bleeding their edge and advantage into the bottom side of the jungle, where Immortals Academy is getting so dangerous to try and contest them past the second tier turrets at this point, Crumbs.
And they are just holding the line here at the red side. CLG is entirely grouped around here. They want to contest vision here because the minion waves will soon crash. They don't want to be giving up these turrets just yet. Nobody can go top. Tien's job is so hard now because he's matching Irelia constantly, but he's slowly falling further behind. And here IMT could potentially threaten a dive. Joey will tell us what they want to do. As he backs away, the rest of the team follows.
It's just so difficult for CLG Academy to face check these bushes, because if you're not too careful, there's going to be a Leona waiting there to just lock you down, an equalizer to follow up, Keith with the mystic shots, Pretty with the execute, and then suddenly, as CLG Academy, you see one of your own being turned against you thanks to just how Viego works as a champion. For Immortals Academy, next objective on the table would be the Baron as... oh, Anda? Uh-oh. Anda? Well, he doesn't really have any friends here, Crumbs. That's a big oopsie, but a massive shutdown for CLG Academy.
For every oopsie, there's a gold star, though, because CLG actually waited their time for the opportunity. IMT was controlling the red side jungle this whole time, and eventually they had to leave. So as multiple members poured out, they count the numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there's somebody still in here. Bam, catch the rumble. Everybody collapse on him, and they know that IMT, yeah, they're stronger, but the members aren't there yet. They got the stopwatch out of key. Okay, he's dead.
RJS, I'm so sorry, buddy. Well, you kind of got styled on, but the phase rush movement speed, I don't think it's going to be enough. Viper said, you know what? I'll burn the flash. You got me with the movement speed, but damn, that was sick.
Yeah, that's the most dangerous member on the side of IMT. I like that RJS recognized his mistake and didn't flash out of that, because had he actually continued to flash, Viper could have chased through the minion wave that was coming, so he knows he done good.
Keith, Joey trying to potentially punish Hooks and Katsuri, but they've got 2 blast cones to be able to get them out to safety. Thumbs up for the CLG Academy bot lane. Once again, without RJS, it is a member down and allows Immortals Academy to continue choking out the vision in this jungle.
Yeah, IMT just sets up traps in here. They just want CLG members to face check that they can jump on. And still not grouped up with them, but he doesn't need to move much further to be able to assist with an equalizer. As now we're going to be getting into these fights that CLG may make a stand at. They don't actually have to. It's not the soul. Giving more Infernal Dragons to a composition with 4 full damage dealers is always a scary proposition. So CLG can choose to take these fights here, but you just look down the line of their itemization and you wonder, do you actually have enough damage right now to deal with this? Because if you just misstep once, it seems like the burst that IMT offers right now is too much to deal with. So they could just bide their time, wait these fights out, and there is a world where even giving up an Infernal Soul may not be the end. Your team fighting can always win you back the game. It's one of the powerful aspects of team fighting compositions. At some point, you probably have to 5v5, and that's exactly where your strength lies.
Gold lead is about 5,000 an advantage for Immortals Academy, though, Chrome. So it does mean that CLG Academy, yes, they have the strength of being able to kite back as a 5-man, but 2-item lead for Viper against TN, and if he's continuing to just work in the side lanes, and it might just be more in Immortals' favor to continue this 1-3-1 that they have going, making sure that CLG never get to fight as a 5-man.
They have to, right? That's their strongest aspect right now, is just knowing that no one is matching Viper well. He's just crashing waves for free, and the Orianna is also playing really far back. So thing is, they're not getting turret damage, and they won't get base damage. So until the next dragon, maybe CLG won't even leave their base, because they're farming fine. They're just getting some gold. Viper doesn't get the stun onto TN, so we'll just have an objective taken from IMT. While Orianna sees the opportunity as dragon is taken, shove up past her usual domain. She's gotten out of the fences, the imaginary fence that IMT has placed around her base, to get an extra wave.
Within this imaginary fence, CLG Academy are just holding hands and trying to keep each other safe during these very difficult times, as there is a very scary Aurelia afoot, as TN trying to do his best to deal with the Viper in the bottom side of the map. CLG Academy did take that opportunity where Anda was taking the dragon to get some vision in this top river near the Baron, so Immortals will have to take some time to clear it out before they try and threaten in the next objective.
They'll have to be creative to clear those out, because as the observer showed us, they were clever wards. They were wards that are saying, all right, let's hope you attempt to clear out and then actually miss these, because we don't want to fight. We just want to see if you're actually doing these objectives. The ward on the left side of the river and the one on the left side of the pit, outside of it, those are tricky wards to clear out. But a good use of the Scryer's Bloom immediately reveals it. So IMT knows what's up. CLG is just trying to buy time. They don't want to give up the Baron. That would make the Baron up pushes of the sidelines more effective, but the fight's starting.
Solar Flare dodged out by all 3 CLG members, but Joey still forcing the engage with the flash forward hooks routed off from the rest of his team. He goes down, Keith easily able to pick it up. With this numbers advantage and Immortals all gathered around the Baron, this objective is theirs.
Without the Braum, the ability to defend themselves is just so much weaker. TN is Mega Gnar though, so he is TPing. They still want to fight.
Joey's going to have to play goalkeeper on this one. He needs to buy time and ensure that TN doesn't get into the fight. But Immortals, you can see that they are giving the respect and needs over to CLG Academy. They might have to just wait out the Baron. TN flashes in, lands a massive two-man Gnar onto the backline here. Shockwave following up as well. Immortals Academy, 1,400 on the Baron. Are they going to be able to secure it here? But Viper's just going to try to turn it down. Holy moly, where did RGS go? Where did TN go? Viper on this Aurelia. When you give him the carry reins, he will take over the game. And he's done exactly that, as Katsuri is running for the hills, but Equalizer will land for the slow, and he's got nowhere else to run.
Hope's got a Baron out of that one, and they trade a kill, so there is something for CLG. Pretty's going?
He's still going. True Shot Barrage lands. He wants hooks. He flashes for it, and he picks it up.
That is punishment for taking the Baron. Not allowed. IMT showing that they are so much stronger in the fight right now. CLG attempted to rout them. Heal with the miracle play to actually save this game, because they were just, it's so over if the Baron goes over to IMT. So the saving grace is that they denied it from IMT. Yeah, they didn't get any value out of that one, but it would not have been able to push out whatsoever. The replay of that fight is going to be spicy. Not only did Katsuri peel out Viper out of that fight, but the rest of the squad still just got mowed down. We had 2 little places where the action was happening, but it really won't stop there though, as the dragon isn't gonna be up so soon, and CLG will have to take this fight. You got the double item already, so let's take a look at how this played out, because we've got 4 people coming from the top side and Viper on the bot, so 2 people get zoned up. What happened to RJS and Katsuri? Because they just got eliminated. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, of course. The answer is so obvious, Rafa. What's right in front of us? It is Viper.
Man, Viper's just so damn good on these bruisers, on these carries. And Lee Sin, they didn't give him a chance to really snowball and accelerate his lead, but this time around, him alongside Pretty are able to just lead the charge on these 2 solo laners, having gained a massive amount of XP, and we're just gonna potentially keep on going. The next dragon, it is Infernal Soul being up in the next minute, as Immortals Academy are just pushing CLG back under this Terror Hour.
They just want to keep CLG as pushed back as possible for the next 50 seconds. The longer they can do this, closer to the Dragon timer, the more desperate CLG is going to get to try to rush into the pit and not have the Dragon just rushed from under their noses. So CLG needs to know that IMT is going to linger here as late as possible, and they might even just try to solo it, guarding the opportunity for CLG to even attempt to make a steal out of this one. So IMT not taking any chances, just making sure they can get the objective that will probably seal their fate.
For CLG, they do have a ward into the Dragon Pit that will give them vision. IMT don't know and it's there quite yet, as until drop the control ward down, Viper potentially getting rounded off by CLG Academy is able to walk out thanks to the members of Pretty and Joey being able to collapse in. CLG, you have a potential nice position here. True Shot Barrage is going to... Oh, that's a lot of chunk down on the Katsuri. You got to be careful, buddy. If the Equalizer comes down, it's going to be all over. But Viper just takes him out. Viper looks for another one onto hooks, and Tien is trying to decide whether he's going to get into this fight, because it seems like the fight has already been decided, and RJS on the run right now. But a teleport, dread it, RJS, run from an RJS, but Destiny arrives all the same when Viper is coming for you.
They're just so fed there. The poke from Keith, those were bombs just lodged at the Tristana. Took a Q to the face, already half HP, then the ultimate, and the fight was over. Credit to CLG for finding an avenue into the fight. They couldn't enter anywhere else, but through the bot lane, it was just not enough. They got immediately blown up, and they can't even look at IMT without being engaged on. They get chunked out so hard. They are so far behind. The damage is just done. With the soul, with the double inhibitors, IMT is already in a position to end the game.
I mean, CLG Academy is starting to ping some wards in their jungle. There is a TP from RJS that they want to keep them here. Pretty and Viper are on a 2-on-3, but the rest of the Immortals Academy are now collapsing in for the re-engage. True Shot Barrage once again finds a member onto TN, and just gone are the members of CLG Academy, because Pretty has taken over the body of Katsuri, getting resets in, Goomba stomping on everyone. Keel and RGS have arrived, but RGS was looking for the TP flank, but everyone already died from Shockwave lands on to 2. Immortals Academy have all the means necessary to close out this game and even up for a 1-1. The Immortals Academy answer back.
This team is looking better and better each game. When they play their game, they're so unique as well in their ability to actually play the silence, get ahead with the unique set of bruiser picks. They're actually carving an identity based out of their strength, and it's great to see, because this is what we wanted out of these players for so long. Viper, Enda, and now joined by Pretty, and even Keith, you know, a longtime veteran of professional League of Legends, actually still just being a menace when he gets the picks that he's best at.
I mean, Latukin, whenever he made his debut back on Team Liquid in, I think, Season 5, but during the roster when they were still waiting on Piglet to come in, I mean, he has been someone that has been slept on and underrated, kind of seen under the radar compared to a lot of the other popular long-time standing ADCs in both LCS and Academy. But 7-0-8, not too shabby of a score, you know, if I say so myself. So Keith still putting up the numbers, and his veterancy and his experience alongside other, you know, people who have been in the LCS, like Anda, having his time in a previous Immortals roster as a sub, as well as 100 Thieves when they went to Worlds in 2018, goes to show that when this roster finds their footing in the early game, it's so devastating for them, as they can just easily close out the game.
Yeah, they had the setup from the draft. They knew the matchups that they wanted. Tien dared it. You blinded the Gnar early. And it's something that for a whole half year, so many teams just didn't do anything about it. They blinded the Gnar, but there weren't the players to pick the Irelia, to pick the Jace, and show you why you cannot blind this pick so confidently.
Right.
Here comes Viper. You blind Gnar, you don't ban Irelia before doing that. It will come out, and you will suffer for it. So let's take a look at some of the replays that show us exactly how IMT bounced back from the first loss against CLG.
Yeah, I mean, if you've been following Viper since his time on No Org, he's known well for counter picks. We haven't seen anything too crazy in the Academy season so far, like the Kalissa and the Vayne that he pulled out during his time on No Org, but the Aurelia, this is where the pieces really start to crumble for TN on the Gnar.
Yeah, when he's already zoning you at level 5, you know there's some problems. So that's actually where it really started to go wrong for CLG, because when the solo kills came out, that's when it just got out of hand, because no longer could Nard lane safely, and Anna continued to help out. He wasn't just involved in helping the top lane snowball, immediately transitioning that to the bot side and then into the team fighting phase. This was a CLG attempt at an engage that IMT immediately routed back and got so much out of it. That Herald got a second charge off, and it mounted to a lead that allowed them to just do so much against the backline. TN and Kiel, yeah, they stole the Baron, but watch RJS and Katsuri and TN. They are 1v3ing Irelia right now, and Irelia wins.
All that for a drop of blood, or Baron blood in this case. But it doesn't even go to anyone, as we saw, Crumbs, because all of them got wiped out. It was a full-on ace in the cleanup in the aftermath of that fight, and at that point, Immortals, the gold lead was so massive, 15,000 by the end. You just look at all the members doing so well, being able to bounce back after, you know, a pretty convincing game 1 from CLG Academy.
It's exciting for me because the organizations are flourishing. The Academy and LCS team are looking like they're playing a similar way. Clearly, they must be practicing against each other, and you see patterns in their ability to take leads from one lane, apply them to another, and get their teammates ahead. It's an improvement that we wanted to see in teamwork out of pretty much every team, and you just don't know if they're going to be able to pull that off in the summer season break in between spring and this split. And seems like the IMT squads have figured it out, and you just love to see the progress, right? It's essentially progress picks is what we're getting out of each game from these teams that are improving, and it just looks better and better, and you're like, yeah, keep going, we love it, show us what you got, improve, we're backing you up.
You know, both of the Immortals team, you know, bringing up LCS, headed by Xerxes and Revenge up there, along with Raze as well. I mean, both of these Immortal squads showing and putting up numbers here in both of their respective leagues at the moment. And when you have a system where both teams are competitive with each other, you're able to gain a lot in terms of just not only, you know, private strategies that you can now flex into both of your respective Academy and LCS matches, but, you know, it goes to show that we have quite a ways to go and things to unfurl as both LCS and Academy unfurl for the rest of the season. As, ladies and gentlemen, we do have our Verizon post-match interview ready to go. It is going to be with support man himself, Mr. Joey, who should be on the line in just a few seconds. My dude, what's up?
What's up? How's it going?
Good, hello, man. Yeah. First of all, congrats on being able to win the second game in that series. I do want to ask you, though, you know, when CLG came out with the win in the game 1, what were the comms like, or what was the team discussion about how to be able to answer back in the series?
Honestly, we were just like, yeah, there's no way that we can let these guys beat us 2 games in a row. So we just like really focused up in draft and tried to make sure that we got the win. Took the game as seriously as we could and just tried to, like, you know, make up for game 1 and just try to roll them harder. And we got rolled, I guess.
Now, what happened between spring and summer for you guys? I know you have new players, but it feels like you're looking a lot more cohesive just individually and playing for the team. Is there a thing that clicked for you in practice, a different approach, or just more hours? How did you come to the improvement that we're seeing today?
I mean, we're all just trying to really give it our all this split. It sounds cliche and whatever, but there's nothing really like in particular. We're just meshing really well as a team, it feels like. And once our Canadians get here, I think we'll be even stronger than we already are.
Yeah, the fact that they're playing this well remote and still in another country, I think, you know, speaks a lot of hope for this roster and your trajectory for the summer split, as you still have quite the number of games compared to the spring split. So plenty of time to experiment and plenty of time to really settle in and establish a team identity. You know, for me, my kind of question then going into tomorrow's match and just taking a scope at the entire academy teams, who for you are you identifying as the teams to beat?
I think right now it's 100% 100 Thieves. I think they're definitely playing the best and just looking to beat them. I mean, they smashed us when we played them, so I'm really looking forward to the rematch and hopefully we can 2-0 them like they 2-0'd us. Other than that, I'm not really too afraid of any other academy team. I think it's just 100 Thieves is probably just looking the best. Everyone else is like kind of in my opinion.
All right. Now, you know, the global leagues just started. Right? LCS just started. Do you take inspiration from any league, any player in particular that you watch these pro views, you gotta follow? Like, who's the player or team that you most resonate with?
I mean, if you're a support player and you're not watching CLGA Pro View, you're just not doing your job. Like it's just so good. So I've just been perma watching CLGA. I just like see it in my dreams. Just only watching CLGA mostly, and then I watch a lot of LCK. But that hasn't really started yet too much. But yeah, from NA, it's really just CLGA I watch a lot of.
Nice. That's
Understandable.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great role model to follow. But, you know, thank you so much, Joey. Congratulations on being able to even it up. We will see you tomorrow on the broadcast.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Good stuff, and definitely I agree. Core JJ definitely a role model, but also, you know, following with LCK. I mean, we were talking before at the top of the broadcast of now that International League of Legends are starting up. There's plenty of role models to follow, but we're going to be heading for a break, ladies and gentlemen, as we get ready for our final series of the day between FlyQuest Academy and Cloud9 Academy. You don't want to miss it.